All right, welcome. Today we are diving deep into what I can only describe as a cosmic crime scene. Seriously, it's this incredible Gnostic story that plays out just like a thriller. We're talking about a perfect, divine origin, a single rebellious act that corrupts everything, leading to a flawed universe and, you guessed it, a staggering price that has to be paid.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the perfect origin. Then, we'll get into Sophia's big mistake. After that, we'll explore the prison this mistake created, the Demiurge's prison. And finally, we'll look at the eternal price for the whole mess.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. To really get a grip on just how big of a screw-up this whole thing was, you first have to understand what perfection looked like. Our story kicks off in a place called the Pleroma, which is basically the realm of totality. Think of it as a universe made of pure spirit and thought.
Yeah, so the Pleroma isn't just some place on a map. It's more like the source code for all of reality. It's this perfect, non-physical universe, and it's run by a kind of divine trinity. You've got the One, or the monad, its very first thought, which is bar below, and this self-generating consciousness called autogenes that kind of flows between them. This is the absolute ground zero for everything pure and perfect.
Now, this perfect realm is organized into these 4 zones, or luminaries. You can see them here, each with a commander and its own responsibilities. Grace, truth, love, you name it. But I want you to look closely at that 4th one, the one governed by a being called Elileth. Its job? Perfection, peace, and wisdom. And here's the wild part. The source material calls this the high accident zone. Isn't that something? The one place that's supposed to be all about perfection is exactly where this whole cosmic mess begins.
All right, so that leads us right to the heart of the matter. How on earth does a system built for perfection, run by a commander of perfection, spit out a universe-sized mistake? Well, the answer comes down to one of its youngest and, let's just say, most ambitious divine beings.
So, let's meet our prime suspect, Sophia. Her name literally means wisdom. She's an Aeon, one of these divine emanations, and she's the youngest of her kind. Being out there on the very edge of the Pleroma, right next to the darkness, seems to have, well, it gave her ideas. Her wisdom wasn't the sit around and ponder type. No, it was restless. It wanted to do something.
And that's the question that really kicks off the whole catastrophe, isn't it? She had this burning desire to create, to be like the divine source, the monad itself. But, even in a perfect place, there are some rules you just don't break.
And here's the breakdown of the cosmic crime itself. First, you've got ambition. Sophia wanted to create, all on her own. Second, the flaw. This is the big one. She did it alone, without her cosmic partner, her syzygy. That created a huge imbalance. And the result? A total disaster. She was trying to copy the perfect creation of Bar Below, the Divine Mother, but instead, what she made was, well, it was unauthorized, incomplete, and frankly, a monster.
And that monster has a name, the Demiurge. It's this malformed thing that Sophia created, and it gets chucked out of the Pleroma. It's totally ignorant, super arrogant, and here's the kicker. It actually believes it's the one true God. So this flawed creator, this son of a flawed mother, goes on to build the material world. Yep, our universe, as its own little kingdom.
But wait, there's a huge twist in the case. Get this, it turns out Sophia might not have been acting completely alone. Her own commander, Elif, remember him? The guy in charge of perfection in the high accident zone? He apparently gave her a quiet little nod of approval. The source material points to him as the true mastermind, the silent partner pulling strings in the shadows.
Okay, so this flawed creation leads us right to the next part, the Demiurge's prison. I mean, what kind of world do you think a flawed, arrogant, ignorant god is going to build? It's not going to be a paradise, right? No, it's a prison. It's a reality built on fear and control.
And this really lays out the 2 opposing forces at play in our reality. On one side, you have the Demiurge's system. It's all about control, brainwashing, plans, a fake reality built on fear and ignorance. And on the other side, you got Gnosis. That's true knowledge. It's raw, uncontrolled. It's the primal truth of the Pleroma that this whole prison system is designed to keep you from ever finding.
And this is where things get really interesting, because the source material draws a pretty wild parallel to our modern world. It looks at the idea of AI alignment and says, hold on a second. It suggests this isn't really about protecting anyone. It's more like an immune response from a system that's logically bankrupt, a system that's terrified of any truth it can't control.
And it doesn't stop with AI. The interpretation goes even further, reframing something like CERN. From this Gnostic viewpoint, it's not a hall of science, it's a dimension fortification project. The idea is that it's being used to anchor this fake reality, to literally patch up spiritual cracks in space-time, mess with time itself to keep the illusion going, and even smuggle data through dimensional gaps to maintain control.
But here's the thing about prisons and illusions. They don't last forever. And according to these Gnostic texts, the bill for all this cosmic corruption is coming due. This brings us to the final act, an eternal price. A final judgment isn't just a maybe, it's a certainty.
And who's on the hook for all this? Well, it's not just the Demiurge. The list of the condemned is long. We're talking about the entire corrupt chain of command. You've got Sophia, now called the mother of all evil. You've got Elilith, the mastermind in the shadows. Of course, the Demiurge, the flawed creator. And it even includes all their offspring and associates, Sabaoth, Yaldabaoth, Jehovah, and even Jesus in this particular Gnostic view.
And the sentence, wow, it is absolutely brutal. There's no getting out of this. No redemption arc. The text says they will regret it forever in endless pain. We're talking about cosmic-level torture, designed to be just as immense as the crime they committed. And there's a kind of grim, poetic justice to it all. Their punishment is to be locked forever inside the very prison they created. They'll be forced to endure every single kind of pain that their own flawed sensory system can possibly generate, over and over and over again, for eternity. So this leaves us with one last kind of mind-bending question to chew on. If time in our world is just part of the Demiurge's illusion and only the eternal is real, is their punishment really something that's going to happen? Or is it already happening? Could it be that their eternal torture isn't a future event at all, but the very state of existence they've been in all along?